All right, welcome to my FX Buddies, the podcast. And I say podcast because there are multiple means in which you can engage with this content. But my favorite method is to go to the blog. And the blog is parked at myfxbuddies.blogspot.com. That's a lot to remember or to type in. So wherever you are interacting with this content, look for a prompt of info, intro, description, more, something of that nature. Tap on it and another box opens and there's a link to the blog, the free blog. You don't have to put your address in, your email address, and I'm not selling anything. All right. So today's another good day for Iraq. Um, well, it was good, but they bought more time. Let's say that. Okay. They bought more time. But on the other hand, the clock is ticking towards the election. And for those of you who don't believe me, it's in black and white. And I'll show you that here. All right. And what else? Thank you for the thumbs up. It really helps, especially I'm getting way less views. And I'm not the only one. I've been watching people, and that YouTube did change the algorithm for whatever, but you roll with it. But there's this guy that I like to watch. At the time that I watched his video, he had like 4,500 views, right? But he only had 450 likes, and he's giving really good information. So anyway, so I get like 900 views and like 200, sometimes almost 300 likes. So it's a really good ratio, and that's because you guys are awesome. All right. So, um, let's see. I think that's everything I wanted to say. All right, so we'll get into it. So today was Saturday, September 13th. It was a good day. But yeah, so now this isn't the biggest story, but I wanted to start with this because here they are again telling the people, shame on you, you need to bring your money in. So the central bank's $15 trillion challenge, get Iraq's money out of the mattresses. So more than 15 trillion dinars are kept in cash in the homes of citizens. And that'll be the thumbnail. The governor of the Central Bank of Iraq says 80% of Iraq's money is in households and stresses that they are trying to increase citizens' confidence in banks. So Ali Alak said the 2025 banking reform plan is a strategic plan to strengthen confidence in the Iraqi banking system and solve problems. And if you didn't watch yesterday's episode, hang tight. There'll be a little pop-up at the end of this one. So after you hit the thumbs up button, you can click on the little square and it'll play for you. But and then the one before also they talked about the banking reform, and it's in the final phase. And so here again, so this is 3 days in a row where they're talking about the banking reform. So he said 80% of Iraqi money is outside the banks and in the homes due to lack of confidence in the banks. He added that the banking reform plan includes updating the banking system in line with international standards and attracting global companies. And on the TV today, they did have a segment. It was Trade Bank of Iraq. And they did show the people coming in, filling out applications, getting their faces scanned. Now, they didn't bring in any money. I didn't see any stacks of dinars, but they did. Even this one lady, she was working on her, on her computer, and a guy came and brought her a stack of applications, and she rolled her eyes like, if you've ever worked a job where you were like down to the last part of your stack and you thought you were almost done, and then your manager or whatever brings you another stack, that is exactly the look that was on her face. So yeah, so the people are coming in and filling out the applications, and it did say, let me see if I kept the, where would that be? That would be in the camera. Oh, and you know what? Let me put you on pause for un momento. All right, I'm back. So 2 days ago, I talked about I would go and put this image in. So I snapped this image off their TV. So you can see back here. So this is the guy talking. He's not the host, he's the guest. And the topic was exchange stations raise service charges. And so I had said right here to the, I guess that's stage right, to the right of this guy it's our left though, right? Is the point of sale machine, and then you can't really tell, the background's pretty blurry. But this right here, oops, oh no, what did I do? Uh-oh, why is that there? Oh, okay, here we go. I guess I can't touch it. Um, so on the other side of this guy are people that are in line, and I know that's like an exchange. That's not a bank. That's not a bank. That's an exchange. Well, they're calling it an exchange station, but I wouldn't call that either. That's like a check cashing place. That's what we can equate that to. But that's one of those places selling the dollar at the parallel market rate, right? Plus, I think they do other things too. But anyway, so I did go back and put that on. Okay, so yeah, so today they had another show, and I know it was Trade Bank of Iraq because they show it, they show the bank, and like I said, there were lots of people in there, seemingly opening accounts. Like I said, there were applications. They were showing them getting their faces scanned, um, and then you know, but I can't remember the wording, and apparently I didn't save it. But anyway, all right. So yeah, so they are bringing their money in, just not. I guess they're not where the government would like them to be, right? So then it says, meanwhile, Mustafa Garari, a member of the Finance Committee of the Iraqi parliament, warned that this phenomenon, the people having their money at home, has led to a decline in market movement and economic activity. Yeah, right. Like other things aren't influencing it. But anyway, so another economic researcher, there's his name there, he revealed the Central Bank of Iraq is really suffering from a shortage of cash and flows, but it's probably supposed to be cash flows, due to the lack of confidence in the banking system and the least trust in public and private banks, which has led many citizens to keep their money in Iraqi dinars. Which is interesting that it says Iraqi dinars, just not at home, right? Okay, so that's that. If you want to read that, you can. And so this is the evidence that they are running out of time. Member of Parliamentary Finance, the budget is on hold, and the government is avoiding electoral exploitation. That image, I don't know why that image's not showing, but whatever. This is Jamal Cougar speaking. He's a member of the Parliamentary Finance Committee. At one time, he was actually the chair of the committee. He confirmed that the Iraqi parliament is facing a complex situation regarding the general budget as the current electoral cycle ends this month. And this is September. So if you listened to yesterday's, I know you probably hung up on me, but I'm just trying to warn you. it's critical. It's getting critical. Um, so typically, I can't remember because it's been 3 or 4 years, right? I'm fairly certain the government shuts down 30 days before the election so they can go campaign, even though they're not doing nothing now, right? But Parliament has a session set for tomorrow and they have a session set for Monday, but I doubt they're going to get. Matter of fact, I know Sundays they're not going to talk about the budget because the agenda is out, and I will show you that towards the bottom of this blog. But so, yeah, so the current electoral cycle ends this month without any budget schedules being received from the government. So there is time. We have the rest of this month, and so November 11th is when the elections are for now. So the government would disband, I think is the word they use, October 11th. But they could work right up until October 10th, right? So we'll see. All right, so yeah, then it just says, all the consequences of them not putting the budget through. Okay, now here, this was most of the news today. Forgive me for moving my microphone all around. Okay, it was grand. It was like a show. So these people here, the IFC, International Finance Corporation, they are an arm of the World Financial Group. They had a thing, let's see, there's a name for it, a really good name for it too. But the Prime Minister reveals partnership and financing contracts with IFC, like $1 billion worth of financing. So the financing contracts with IFC and local and international partners to enhance economic and investment development in various sectors. So here, and this is the reason I put this article first. It's really not the best one, but a lot of you like just bullet point lists of things. So I put that there. And that's just some of them. There were even more. So here the Prime Minister reveals partnership and financing contracts. Disclosure Policy Media. The Prime Minister announced on Saturday partnership and financing contracts with the IFC. So another thing that's different. So normally they just get loans, right? They get loans and they have to pay them back. This word partnership is interesting. Also, if you look into the IFC, which is under the World Bank Group, if you look to see who has the most veto power, who puts the most money into the World Bank, guess who it will be? Yes, the United States of America. It'll be us. So, who really runs the World Bank? Yeah, that's a good question. But anyway, so I thought that was interesting. So in essence, is the World Bank starting a partnership with Iraq? So here's a line of credit to the Bank of Baghdad. I mean, it's really interesting, but for time's sake, I can't cover it all. Okay, so that's why there's like 5 or 6 different postings. Okay, so here, this is what he said in the speech. Prime Minister Sadani said, restructuring the economy is an urgent necessity, and the private sector is a supportive partner in restructuring it. Oh, and that's another thing. The IFC, their focus is on the private sector. So this money, one article says it could be $200 billion dollars worth of support over, I think, 5 years. But yeah. So he affirmed on Saturday that the government believes in restructuring the Iraqi economy noting that the government has made preparations to advance the Iraqi economy in the coming period. I like that. In case you don't know where I'm reading, right here. Oh, this isn't a live blog, so I can't. I wanted to highlight it, but I can't. So then, he said, we congratulate the Iraqis on signing partnership contracts with the IFC. See, he's not saying loan documents. He's saying partnership contracts. So I think there's something different about this. Yeah. It's going to generate jobs. So it's all really good. See, $100 billion. We cannot delay meeting citizens' needs and aspirations or remain captive to the economy's unilateralism in financing the budget. Okay? Keep that in mind. Financing the budget. All right. Where is this other title? So here's see the stage they were on? That's one image. Then, let's see. It was something like leadership. Oh, here's one title. This came out of the Kurdish news. Iraq signs $1 billion investment deals with World Bank's IFC amid deep-rooted corruption challenges. Is there some hateration there? I don't know. Here we go. Here it is. Launch of the Partnership Day celebration between the IFC and the Iraqi government. So you see what I mean? It's very different. It's very different than them just getting loans. So there was the stage. There's the image of the CBI building, the Central Bank of Iraq building, and you can see even right here it says IFC Partnership Day. So yeah. Okay, now the only negative, if you can say negative, here, we'll park right there. If you'd like to support my FX buddies, here's how you would do that. But so a long, long time ago, I used to be on this other platform, just a call, just a Dinar call. But there was a guy from Iraq, and he would always say, "I'm an Iraqi," and you could tell, well, by his voice anyway, he seemed um like he had been on the earth longer than I have. Okay. But one time when Iraq had been given a loan or something, he was like, "Oh, this is going to be another delay." And he said, "I'm Iraqi and I know Iraqis. And when they get money, they're going to stretch it out." And I remember the guy's name because I really wanted to meet him one day. But because the way that he spoke, well, anyway, I'm not gonna say that. But anyway, so but yeah, so he just disappeared. Because you could tell he was getting more and more jaded, and he just was like, "I'm out of here." Maybe he said, "We'll be lucky if they do it in 5 years." And let me tell you, it's been more than 5 years. So here again, they're getting another loan, but it does seem different this time. Well, it's definitely different this time, right? With their digitization of a lot of things. Matter of fact, the foreign ministry building now has digitized a lot of their processes. There's something else. They made a college for AI. Oh, AI is going to be in the nursing schools. So they're really coming along, with the electronic payment system and redoing the banks and everything. But it's just slow, right? Okay, yeah, so you looked at that long enough. So Cash App is always live. $ Tish Wash if you want, but big or small, I appreciate it all, and I thank you in advance for your generosity. Ding! Okay, now, and I think we're almost done, but Parliamentary Services explains the reason. Okay, so here's just another article about the delay, and they're saying that they haven't sent the budget because they can't open the budget. I'm sorry, they haven't sent the budget schedules because they can't open the budget or they'll show they don't have money. But with the elections coming, they need to move fast, right? Okay, this guy, does he look familiar? But remember his name? He's Dr. Hate Them. I'm sure that's how you pronounce that. Hate Them. Hate Them Hamid like Al Mansour. So he writes really long articles. And he's back with another really long article. The Iraqi economy and the growing domestic public debt, risks and policies. So he goes through and points out the everything about the budget, the oil, let's see, spending, that there's been an increase in government spending, and he has numbers and percentages, all the things smart people put to prove their point. But look, he says, this burdens the general budget and deepens the debt once again, thus entering the economy into a vicious cycle of persistent debt. So then he talks about the risks, and I think at the bottom here, he gives suggestions. Therefore, it was necessary to build counter policies that revolve around the following. And so, of course, none of them are change the rate and increase, give them the new money. He talks about taxes. Oh, yeah, and there was an article about taxes, but I didn't want to put it because, there's only so much I can cram into 30 minutes. Let's see. Issuing government bonds, they've done that already. Limit corruption, yeah, good luck with that. And then he says, in short, the public debt is a wake-up call. So, yeah. All right. Now, here, this is interesting, in my opinion. Iraq spending reversal. Families funnel income from food to soaring housing and bills. That should probably say housing costs. But you know what's interesting? Friday, I read this very same thing about people here in America. It's either Market Watch or CNBC, but you can put in Americans choosing electricity over food. And you know what's happening here, right? The data factories, data centers, what did that man call them? Jensen Wong has a different name for them. I think he called them data factories. But anyway, the data centers that suck up all the energy, they're causing people's electric bills to rise. That's what's happening here in America. What's going to happen wherever they build a data center, because that's what they do. And yeah. So then here again, and over, wherever Iraq is from us, down below, across the pond, I don't know where it is. There they are. They have to make choices. Do we buy food or pay our housing costs? But they should not be having to make these decisions, right? If they revalue the money and pass all the laws and get the businesses in, the companies that want to build. Yep. So it says living costs also vary widely across the country. Baghdad is the most expensive city, followed by Erbil and Kirkuk, while Nineveh remains among the least costly. So I went slow through here if you wanted to read that. It's Okay, then, oh, here's that ship. Remember I said it reminded me of candles on a birthday cake? And it's a power generating ship called Car Power Ship. It's connected. They connected it either yesterday or today, and it's operating and it's helping southern Iraq provinces have electricity. And there's some wattage here, but I don't know what that means. 590 megawatts of electricity, 50,000 watts. Oh, I'm going to listen to that song. Anyway, all right. Yeah, and adding 300 megawatts to the national grid. So I think it's only going to stay, I was going to say 90 days, but it's 71 days. You see that there? It's only going to stay for 71 days. But what a novel idea to have a ship go around and give electricity to places that need it. I think that's neat. All right. So this article, there, as usual, a couple of hours later, someone said, no, that's not true. But I kind of believe it is, though. Iraq is losing more than $11 million every day as Baghdad blocks Kurdistan oil exports. So this is from Kurdish News, and this is the company Eco Iraq, right? But I'm laughing here. That's the company that's doing the reporting, because it's probably Baghdad, someone from Baghdad saying that's not true. We're not losing money, but yeah, because that's, they want to save face. But it's a chronic dispute that hurts all of Iraq. So hopefully, so they did actually move that case to the state council or whatever it is. But in the article that confirmed that, it didn't say how long that would take. So maybe Sunday or Monday we'll get the details of how long that court case will take. And then here, political stalemate and hidden agendas. Yeah, so that's pretty lengthy, but I know someone will find that interesting. Then here's another guy, Zuhair Fatlawi. He came out and said Iraq is facing a financial crisis and the government is unable to find a solution. But yes, they can. Yes, they can. They can find a solution. They're just not ready yet. Okay? And so they're still talking about that vote to repeal that act, the Power Act, right? So this will be the third day that it's been in the news. Canceling the forces mandate reshapes the relationship between Baghdad and Washington. And it says it opens the door for Iraq to strengthen its sovereignty and consolidate its position as an effective state in the region, capable of playing a pivotal role in security and stability. So it's short. It's just two paragraphs. And then here's the Sunday session. They're going to talk about 12 items. If you'd like, you can peruse these 12 items here. None of them have to, there's one financial thing and one economic thing, but nothing to do with what we're waiting on. All right, and so look at this. I think this is the last article. Yes. So remember yesterday, the Qatari Prime Minister or someone from Qatar got invited to have dinner with the U.S. President at the New Jersey compound. I don't know what you call it. So now that guy is probably heading home back to Qatar. And look who's heading to Qatar. The Iranian foreign minister. Yeah, so he's going to go have a meeting with these people. I don't want to say their name either, but it's abbreviated OIC. Some of you probably know who that is. And yeah, I'm sure there'll be a message delivered. You see how they work? You see how they, and if you don't follow close like I do, you don't see that trail. But yeah, it ain't maybe even a handwritten letter, right? But if not, at least a message on how are the talks going? What are you doing? Yeah, so it's interesting the way the world really works, right? And that's just a little teeny tiny crack behind the curtain of how. What was that movie where those people went to Oz, the Wizard of Oz? The Wizard of Oz. And pulled the curtain, right? Yeah. If you haven't had a curtain pulled on you while following this rate change business, man, I don't know. Anyway, so that's it. I'm thinking I'll be posting tomorrow too, but of course it will be after football. Um, unless it's something, like a rate change or an article about deleting the 3 zeros or something, then I would post that immediately. Or if there's something good in the Gazette, right? Oh, we can hope. Anyway, thanks for listening. Don't forget, hit the thumbs up button. I appreciate it. If you'd like to subscribe, look down in the lower right hand corner. There's a little icon. If you hit that, I think you have to hit it twice. Then you're subscribed. Accumulate while we wait for the rate to appreciate. Don't miss any meals and pay all your bills. Thank you for your support and your very smart and well thought out comments and your encouragement. I appreciate it. I really do. All right. Enjoy the rest of your morning, night, noon, whatever time frame you are indulging in this content. And until next time.